Hey there, everyone. Ryan Schul here. Welcome to my channel. This is all about data science, financial analysis, financial management, and things like this. So today I want to talk about how we can automatically analyze SEC 10K filings and 8K filings. And we want to download these filings automatically and then extract information about tax law changes and regulatory changes. Okay, so all based on financial information that you should be aware of if you're an investor, either a small investor, right, or a major portfolio manager or asset manager or hedge fund manager or something like that. And you have to understand what is going on with the operations of this company, what's happening on the inner side of this company. So basically, the 10K is an annual report that public companies have to file with the SEC. This is a Securities and Exchange Commission. And the main parts of the 10K include that has to be filed annually, right? And the annual filing date really depends on whatever the company chooses. A lot of companies choose the end of December. So, right at the end of December, they will cut off their fiscal year and report everything that happened for the previous 12 months. But it doesn't have to be December, it can be any time, it can be any month of the year. But a lot of companies choose December. It kind of naturally makes sense. End of the calendar year, end of the fiscal year. So, it provides or it gives the company the opportunity or the chance or the mandatory requirement, I guess, to file within 60 to 90 days of the end of the fiscal year. So this report includes a comprehensive overview of the company's financial health, whether the operations of the company, everything has to be audited by a team of CPA professionals, right? So you know this is true, this is real, this is accurate, okay? And it's used for financial modeling, valuation of the company, due diligence for mergers and acquisitions, investing in this enterprise, credit analysis of this company, things like this, and benchmarking and risk assessment. So the 8K is a little bit different. It's more for companies that have a major change in their operations or their business management, and this could have an impact on the stock price. They have about 4 business days that they have to go ahead and file this report for the investment committee. Okay, so if this can impact your business and have a consequence on investors, people want to know about this, right? This is important, pertinent information that people need to know about. So it doesn't really have a scheduled basis like the 10K, but as needed, the company needs to file these reports, right? So it's more for monitoring real-time developments, evolution of the operations of the company, trends and risk analysis and research and corporate governance tracking. That's why we file an 8K. Okay, so I have some notes down here. You can go ahead and check that out. I'm not going to go through every single detail here, but basically, these 10Ks and 8Ks are for information basis, right? For investors, real time change and monitoring of the business, risk management and forecasting of the enterprise, right? Training, artificial intelligence LLMs for regulatory surveillance, right? We can go ahead and train an LLM based on the information in the 10K and the 8K, and the LLM can go ahead and interpret this and read this documentation and make sense of that, right? And give us summaries or summarized reports of the document, right? So this cross linkage with other signals, and we try to quantify any kind of sentiment or any kind of meaning or takeaway from this language, right? Whatever is written in the 10K. So I'm going to go ahead and download these files right now, Control Enter, and I'm going to share all this data with you. Basically, we have from SEC Edgar, download the downloader, right? This is a downloader. You put in your email address and whatever, what is this called? Whatever, not feature, sorry, parameter, whatever parameter you want, and it goes ahead and downloads the filings for you. So if I could show you where this goes, by default, it just goes to my folder where my Anaconda is set up. So if I go back on one level right here, you can see where this stuff goes. So this is where my Anaconda environment is set up, Ryan Schul, and we have this, what is this? App data. I go up one level and go over here, and you can see what's happening, right? So SEC Edgar filings. Okay, I'm looking at Apple. That's the stock I'm looking at, and I have all my 8Ks and 10Ks, and you can see what's going on here, right? So everything was downloaded to this spot right here, and that is based on 10K. This is a default folder in 8K and Apple, right? So we're looking at Apple stocks. So I want to go ahead and load all the information from this documentation. I'm going to hit Control Enter because this does take a couple minutes to run. So if you go back and take a closer look at this, so we have users, Ryan, that's my name, underscore. I think that was a typo there. I don't know how I got the underscore after my name. Then we have SEC filings and we have APL. So that is a stock ticker for Apple, right? If it's Microsoft, it's MSFT. If it's Tesla, was it TSLA or something like whatever the stock ticker is. So you would automatically get this download based on whatever security ticker that you pick. So I pick Apple, it goes SEC Edgar filings, and then downloads everything to the 10K and to the 8K. And if I go in here and look at this, you can see what this contains right here. If I stretch it out, we have about 223 items. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff to go ahead and comprehend. And that's just for the 8K. If I go up to the 10K, it's actually going to be a little bit smaller, but you have to add that 223 to the 10K. And we have over here about 29. So whatever that is, 223 and 29, let me just round 220 plus 30, 250. We have more than 250 files to read, okay? And if you go into each folder here, you have all the names, all the codes represent the identity of the filing entity, right? So this is Apple, so they're going to have their code, and that's how the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, recognizes who's doing the filing. And then you have different filings throughout the year, and then different purposes for these filings. These are the 10K, sorry. So you file this once a year, but for the 8K, you have different purposes for the filings, right? So if we go up one level, 8K, and then go into any of these folders, there's a bunch of them, 223, there's quite a few. You pretty much have this this hierarchy or this kind of conformity, okay? So let me open this. This is what the 8K looks like, okay? So you have details about Apple and what it's doing here, okay? So electronic computers, this is the IT business. Microsoft is the same. I think Amazon is a little bit different. It's not really an IT company or a tech company. I think Amazon is more like retail or something like that. So anyways, you go into all these folders, you look at the hierarchy or the structure. So you have the users, Ryan, SEC filings, Apple, 8K, and then the folder name, right? So you have this kind of crazy looking folder 001 181431 -10-16054, and inside that you have the contents. It's called full submission. So what we're doing right here is downloading and analyzing the information right here. Let me hit this because it takes a couple minutes to run. So this is kind of brilliant right here, actually. So you have C users, Ryan, that's me, SEC filings, Apple, then asterisk, because we have the 8K and the 10K right here. So this basically goes through all the hierarchy structure of those subfolders and extracts all the information from that, right? Then you have a second asterisk right here that gets the folder name. So this covers the 10K and 8K. This covers all the specific folder names I just showed you. So if you go back over here, you have a whole bunch of folders. You have about 223 different folders over here. You would have to go through and specifically identify every single folder. If you didn't have the capacity to do this, it's wildcard search. You'd have to go through every single folder, identify that, and then loop through all the folders. So this is pretty brilliant because we don't have to go through the 10K and 8K, right? That's covered for us, and that is covered for all the specific folder names, right? All the subfolders, and then we get to what we actually want, the full submission text. So this is pretty smart and a little bit crazy too. Whoever came up with this, bless you. Thank you so much. God bless you. So you can do a wildcard search and get through everything. Otherwise, we would have 223 separate and distinct, whoops, I just moved that, separate and distinct different representations of folder structures, plus another, was at 29 or whatever that thing was, right? You'd have 260 something different names that you would have to classify. And all the time, different folders are coming out representing different names and different file structures. You have to get all that right. So, so everything is contained in this one line right here, which is pretty smart because we can go ahead and scan through all these folders and get whatever we need. So with that in mind, we can get a list of keywords. We know this is a list based on the square brackets around here. So we have the open bracket, close bracket, and we're looking for terminology like tax reference, tax legislation, income tax, deferred tax. Remember, we're looking at filings to extract tax law details, right? Tax law changes and regulatory changes, right? So we're looking for keywords like SEC, FTC, Federal Trade Commission, DOJ, that's Department of Justice, Federal Reserve, IRS, right? Legislation, new rules, proposed rules, final rule, and Treasury Department. And if any of these keywords are in this documentation, these 223 I just showed you, another 29, we're going to extract all of that and ingest that and make sense of that, right, into our automated tool here that's going to read all of that stuff. So when I run that, this is what I get. So it goes into the text file and it goes ahead, goes in, drills in, and makes a determination now about how important that document is. So you can see here it's starting to pull out information. So IRS numbers aligned with top margins and so on and so forth. And you can scroll a little bit to the right. We have a lot of details about the text in this documentation, right? Like if we look at the actual document, well, that's not it right there. Let me close that. If we go back and look in the document, AK filings, okay, and this is the one. This is one of those 223, right? So go ahead and open this, and you can see there's tons and tons and tons of information related to Apple, right? And this is all HTML format, so we have to convert this into more human readable or human consumption type of format, right? This is all HTML right now, and it works fine in a text file. A text file will take anything that you put into it, just dump it, put that in, and then extract it when you need it. But it kind of looks funky. It looks a little bit weird, right? It doesn't really have the normal formatting that you would see in a normal document, right? So we would have to convert that. So it's actually a lot of work to go ahead and open all these files, these 223 plus another 29 on the 10K side. But this tool actually goes into all these files, opens it, extracts it, and looks for these keywords right up here that I showed you, from tax reform down to Treasury Department. And if it matches that pattern, we extract that, and then we can focus just on these words, right? So we can eliminate a lot of the redundancy, the monotony, the things that don't really matter to us, the things that don't really have like a real meaning or a real purpose for us as investors. We can eliminate that and just focus on what's important, right? So what I did over here was create with triple quotes, the opening triple quotes here and the closing triple quotes is right here. And I gave ChatGPT a guideline. I said, you are a financial analyst. Below is an excerpt from the SEC filings. Please summarize these regulatory filings and identify the financial impact or classify the affected sectors. And then return your output in structured bullet point form. Okay, so this is not structured data. This is HTML formatted data. I told ChatGPT, extract that in structured form so I can read this intelligently as a human being and understand what's going on there. So I'm going to hit Control Enter right here to print out the results. So that's what ChatGPT is doing. It's going into this file right here. This is my ChatGPT API key. I had to sign up for this and pay for this. It's pretty cheap, guys. It's pennies, very, very cheap. I have some information in the link below about how this works. So you can go ahead and sign up for this and interact with ChatGPT. I'll give you all this code. I'll share everything with you so you can do this all by yourself. And I'm picking this model right here. So ChatGPT 3.5, you can pick 4.0. This is a little bit more expensive. 4.0 is more expensive, and it's slower too to produce the results. This is cheaper and this is faster, but the results aren't quite as polished and not quite as professional or as refined as you would get with the 4.0 model, okay? But it still does a pretty good job. So I have full submission text. This is the details of the filing. If I go over here, I can see exactly where that came from. So I open a new folder, go down here, open this, right? And I can paste the folder path into here and we can see where the data is coming from. Okay, and it's opening right now. My computer's a little slow. I know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Everybody watches this channel knows that the computer's slow. So go ahead, Control C, Control V, paste that in. Right, and here's the data source, right? And if I go up one level, you can see that I have 200 and what's this, 223. If I go back here, Control Enter, 223 of these files, right? So this takes everything from 223 files. It shows you the identity of each file right here and the full submission text. That's what we're looking for, right? And gives us a quick summary description of the text. So Apple is reporting its financial earnings in the first fiscal year. So this is creating everything from that text file that probably is, if I have to paste this into Microsoft Word, if I have to paste this in Microsoft Word, Control C, Control V, enter this right here. It's going to be big, guys. It's going to be big, like 100 pages, maybe more than 100 pages. Let me open a Word file. And just to help you to appreciate what this code is actually doing, so putting it in Word, I just want to get an understanding of how big this file is. Control End, right? Takes me to the end of the document, and I can go ahead down here and look at the stats on the document. This will give me the number of characters, number of pages. And you can see the thing is pretty massive, right? Wheel is spinning here. The blue wheel is spinning. Okay, that's the end of the documentation. If I go down here, 565 pages. You can see that. That's the first stat right there. Words, 132K. Words with characters, characters and spaces, almost 1,000,000 characters and spaces. I'm like, are you actually going to go through and actually read this? And this is one document, right? And you would have to read, is this the 10K or the 8K? I forgot which one this is. This came from here. Here, thing. So 8K. So this comes out 223 times, right? For Apple, are you actually going to read 500 pages of documentation? Me personally, I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience, and I don't have the bandwidth for that, right? But this tool is doing all of the work for us. So if I go back here, back to the tool, and see what this is doing. So this is the summary of one document, right? So it tells us the most important things that we need to know based on the assessment that we made before, right? And that assessment comes from here. Where was it? Up a little bit. These keywords, right? So that's what we're focusing on. The lens is on this: tax reform, tax legislation, Treasury Department, regulatory changes. So things like that, right? That's what we're focusing on now. We have a 500-page document. I want to know what's most relevant, what's most important in that document, and this is showing me these words are the most relevant and most important, right? So that's for one document. So here's the next document right here, right? So it comes from this path. This is another 8K right here. That's the document, and that's the contents of the document. So we know this company is subject to worldwide laws and regulations that may require licensing of its DRM, so on and so forth. So here's the next document right here. Again, in AK, we have the full submission, probably another 500-page document. Do I have time to read this? No, I do not. I have too many things going on, but I want a quick summary of what is happening inside of this document, and this tool is telling me that, right? So here's another one. I picked 5. If you go back here, you can see this is set to 5 based on whatever it is. I don't see it right now offhand, but we get the top 5 documents, right? But you can go ahead and get all the contents for all the all the documentation right there. Okay, so it's all given to you. So at the end, we can go ahead and do some classification of this documentation as well. So again, going back to GPT, so ChatGPT says, okay, you could use this model 3.5 turbo. We have a 4.0, we have a 4.5, and there's other models out there too. And they represented this down in the comment section below. And you can have access to all this stuff, right? So I'll show you that in just a minute. Let me just finish this summarization right here. So again, we're using this model, 3.5 turbo, very good model, pretty powerful, pretty cheap, and very fast too. There's different models. There's a 4.0, which is a little bit slower and more expensive, but it gives you a better, overall better performance and better summarization of the text, right? So if you need more details, more refinement, more enhancement of your analysis, that's what you would choose to pick, right? And let me go ahead and click this just to kick it off and get that going. So if you need more information, I can take you through that right now. Control C, Control V. I think I actually have this open right here. Pricing, this pricing, and this one is the open API keys. So that comes from here. So I'm going to share all this information with you guys. Right when I show this video, when I load this video later today, you'll have everything you need. And let me save this real quick and then do a quick, oh, wait, I have to save that. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Thank you so much for the reminder. And this is saved. Then I can do the refresh. So this is where you would get your API key. You have to sign up for a key. It's not free, but very, very, very cheap. You can send lots of bits and bytes of information to ChatGPT. It'll analyze everything and then spit back the report to you. And I think it's 512 bit characters, or I forgot what they call it. You convert that into a token, and I think you have 1,000 tokens, and it costs a couple of cents to go ahead and do that analysis. Here's a breakdown of all the prices. So I'm sharing that with you. This information is right here at the bottom of the Jupyter Notebook. If you scroll down, you'll see it right here. See it, hopefully. Yeah, so here's the details of everything, right? So based on everything I got, all the ChatGPT results in the summary, I want to look at the financial impact and the overall regulatory filings, right? We're looking at tax law changes and regulatory changes. And then I want to go ahead and understand the sentiment, right? That's the feeling. It's either positive or neutral or negative. I want to understand the overall feeling of these tax filings and of these regulatory changes and understand, is Apple a good investment or is it not a good investment? If it's somewhat neutral and mostly positive, that's probably a good investment. If it's somewhat neutral and mostly negative, that's probably not a good investment, right? So here I can see I have 5 counts of sentiments. Sentiment, again, is a feeling, positive, neutral, or negative. 5 counts of neutral, and what is this, like 3 negatives? Oh, 2 negatives. Okay, so I have 3, what is this thing? It's hard to read this. 3 neutrals and 2 negatives. So it's somewhat in between, not super positives. There's nothing positive whatsoever based on the impact of the tax changes that are affecting Apple and the regulatory changes. So somewhat neutral, a little bit negative. Now, if I look over here at sector-wise impacts, there's 2 counts of tech impacts, 1 count of finance, and this looks like 2 of technology, and the technology is basically negative. So this tells me, without reading 223 different 8Ks and 29 different 10Ks, that the outlook for Apple is a little bit negative here, guys. I'll be honest with you. It's a little bit negative, not as great, not as fantastic as I would hope for, but this is the real deal. This is what's happening with Apple right now, right here, right now, right? And you have to report this to the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and it has to be pretty accurate and pretty non-biased. Now, I'm sure they're going to bake in a little bit of bias if the CEO or the CFO is making this earnings call and they're distributing 10K and 8K filings. I think they're going to lean towards positivity, right, for the company, because they don't want to lose their jobs. They want to have a good impact on the community, on society, and what's going on at Apple right now. So I think it's going to be a little bit positive, because see, also it has to be honest and forthright and true, and they have to represent really what's going on with Apple right now. So we can see that right here. We have 3 counts of neutral reporting, 2 counts of negative reporting. Right over here, sector-wise impacts. There's 2 technology, 1 finance, and 1 negative technology. So 2 positive, 1 positive for finance, 2 negative for technology. Here we have taxation, 1 positive and 1 negative. So tax updates and regulation, that is positive. We have 1 count of corporate governance, and then 1 count of compliance with laws and regulations. And it looks like they're missing a mark. They can't hit the target here with compliance and regulations, and that's fine again. So Apple is reporting on their 10Ks and their 8Ks what's going on with the company. They're coming up short a little bit with compliance laws and regulations, although they're hitting on corporate governance, tax updates and regulations, and taxation, 1 positive and then 1 negative. So the whole point of this exercise, guys, is to look through a whole bunch of 10Ks and 8Ks, like 260 different files, and we can go ahead and report this to our executive committee, to our investment community, and say, this is what's going on. This is the reality here. This is where the rubber meets the road, and this is what's happening right here, right now, right? So we can make this report. This is just me doing this all by myself. We don't need a team of analysts. We don't need like 20-something professional subject matter experts going through all this documentation and analyzing it, internalizing it, and then regurgitating all this information. One person can do this quickly and easily, right? So that's the power of automation. That's the power of ChatGPT summarization, right? You can go ahead and summarize all the details of these 260 files in just a few minutes and understand what's happening at Apple and be able to make decisions that are intelligent and informative, right? And you can back this up with real data. You have the 10Ks, you have the 8Ks, you have all this information, and this is your analysis that you did just in a couple of minutes. So you don't need the team of professionals. One single person can do this, and then send this out to the investment community, send this out to your stakeholders, your shareholders, the people that you work with, people that you do business with, and the people that depend on you to give reliable, dependable advice, right? One single person can do the whole lift right here. You can do this all by yourself. So that's the benefit here. So this is how we can analyze 10Ks, 8Ks, and automate the whole process. I had 2 videos in the series. This is number 2 of 2, so you can check out the first one. This is number 2. So hopefully that was informative, enlightening, educational, maybe inspirational too. I'm going to wrap it up right here, and I'm going to post a video, and of course I'll share all the code with you guys. I'm going to save this code sample right here in my Jupyter notebook. So saved, it'll get a little message here 1 second ago, or yeah, there it is. So 1 second ago, I'm going to export this as an HTML file. I found that these HTML files are comprehensive, easy to read. It has all the information, all the details, all the charts, everything you need. You can download that, and you'll have everything at your fingertips. And then you can copy and paste the code, and then you can run this in your own Jupyter environment and get everything that I got and everything that I demoed to you today. So there you go, guys. Everything is available for you. I'm going to share the code when I drop the video a little bit later today, and I'll create another video pretty soon. Okay, there's the download. That's done. I'll create another video pretty soon, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, until then, take care. Thanks. Goodbye.